Okay, so good morning, everyone. I am Joanna Adams. I'm one of the open research team based in the library. And today, I'm going to speak about the benefits of using preprints. Okay, so the first thing is, what is a preprint? So a preprint is a version of a scholarly article that hasn't yet undergone formal peer review and hasn't yet been published in a journal or anywhere else, but it has been posted on a public server that makes it available for anyone to read. Now, using a preprint server means that the output gets a digital object identifier, or a DOI, which makes it really easy to cite and it makes it easy for people to find. Now, things you should know about preprint servers before you decide to post. They are publicly available, which means that once your work is out there, it stays online and anyone can read it. So make sure that your article is suitable for a preprint before you post. And use an appropriate open license or Creative Commons license to set how the article can be reused. So how do you preprint? The first thing to do is check the journal self-archiving policy that you intend to submit to make sure that it allows the use of preprints. Now, most do, but there are probably some that don't. So just use the Sherpa services. Sherpa Romeo lets you check the self-archiving policies of journals before you decide to post your preprint. The next thing you'll do is choose your platform. So you'll probably want to use a dedicated preprint server for your discipline. So there's like arXiv for math and physics, there's bioRxiv for biomedicine, or there are multidisciplinary platforms, for example, the Open Science Framework, and that's popular with psychology here at the university, or some of the health sciences people use it. So you can choose the best platform for yourself. We'd recommend that you seek consent from co-authors if you are working with other people, just to make sure that they're happy for the work to go public as well. Then you'll submit the preprint to your chosen server, just following their instructions. Should be quite straightforward to upload. And make sure that you clearly label the article as an unreviewed preprint so that people know what they're getting. It's not a final published article. Apply that open license. We recommend the CC BY Creative Commons license, which allows maximum use of your article. It can be shared, reused, adapted with credit to the original. But you might want to use a more restrictive license. You can also use the CC BY NC, which means it can be shared and reused, but not for commercial purposes. Or there's the ND, which means no derivative works can be made. And then you should update and resubmit versions of the preprint at any time. So you can make sure that the most recent version of the work is posted on the server. Now, the benefits of posting a preprint are that you can share your work on your own timeline. Traditionally, when you submit to a journal, it can go through many rounds of peer review, rejection, resubmission, and it can take quite some time from the initial submission to actually getting published. So with a preprint, you can share your research results as soon as you're ready, much more quickly than going through the journal, which means that you'll get increased attention for your work. Preprints can enable discussion in the community. They can help you identify opportunities for collaboration, and you'll get more impact because your work's out there earlier, more people are seeing it for longer. You're also establishing priority for the research. You're getting a time-stamped public version that can be updated and versioned at any time to say that you were there first with that research. You will benefit as well from a sort of early peer review, and using preprints often improves the chances of your article being accepted in a journal. because it opens up that discussion and people make comments, you can, keep revising the article. And often editors will use preprint servers to identify interesting articles, and you might be asked to submit to a journal because of your preprint. And this form of early peer review also increases the transparency of the research, because that journey has been mapped, it's been shared at an early stage. You can see that peer review and how it's progressed through the publication journey. You are also having evidence of your research. So when you are applying for a promotion or a grant application or a new job, rather than just having the title on your CV, with work in progress, you've actually got a link, the DOI, to the preprint online, and whoever's looking at your CV, reviewing your work, can actually go and see what you've written, and they can go and see the research that you've done, which is much better than just having that, the title on your CV. Preprints are also inclusive. They are free to post, it doesn't cost you anything, and they're free for anyone to read. Often you'll find with journals that you need to pay to publish, you might need to pay to read it. If you're not an institution that has an open access agreement, then you're not maybe able to publish. So the preprint means that anyone can share their research and anyone can read it. You don't need to have funds or be a rich institution. It also saves relevant research that doesn't make it to a final publication from being lost. So for example, you're a PhD student, you've got some research that is interesting and useful to your area, but you're busy writing your PhD, you graduate, you get a job, you never actually make it to publication. But if you post your preprint, it means that research is still available. So there are lots of benefits of using preprints, but you might have some concerns about them. Sometimes people wonder, oh, it's a preprint, does that mean it's not good quality? But that's not the case. As long as you clearly mark the work as a not yet formally reviewed preprint, that's fine. The reader should evaluate, as they should with any source. And as I mentioned, preprints encourage open review. So often by the time it gets to the final publication, it's actually very high quality and it has been sort of peer reviewed. And because preprints are public, researchers will quality control before posting. It's their reputation that's at stake. They're not going to post before it's ready. If you're concerned about journals not accepting preprints, we find that most actually do, but use Sherpa Romeo and check the policy before you submit, just to make sure. You might be worried that your research might be scooped or stolen by someone else, but there's actually no evidence of this. And because you're establishing your precedent in the research area at an early stage, and you've got that time-stamped public version, it would be really bad practice for someone to do that. You have that evidence, and it would not be good for their own reputation or their career if they did that. So we don't think that would be an issue. There are some potential disadvantages to preprints. You may find that competitors may rush to get published and beat you to the final publication. But again, you still have got that time-stamped early record to show that you were there first. If you are planning to submit to a journal that uses anonymous peer review, it could compromise the anonymity. So you would probably want to wait until after review before you post your preprint, just in case that using the preprint makes you identifiable to the reviewer. Some journals use anti-plagiarism software, and it is possible that software will pick up a preprint and flag up to the journal that it's previously been published. But as long as you alert the journal at submission that there is a preprint, and I think many of them actually ask that as part of the submission process, again, that shouldn't be a problem. Now, once you've posted your preprint, you want to make sure that people can search for it and find it. So we would recommend that you deposit the preprint in Pure. I probably wouldn't actually deposit the PDF in Institutional Repository, but I would use Pure as a catalogue record, include the metadata, and then link out to the preprint server using the GUI. And that means that you're keeping all of your research together, making it available on the institutional's research portal, which makes you visible. Also use your ORCID for the same reasons. And if you don't already have an ORCID, it is a unique persistent identifier for a researcher, and it gathers all of your research information on that one account. It works with different systems so that you're not continually re-entering information to duplicate systems, and it connects the different versions of your article and makes it searchable at author level. You should also make use of social media to share your preprints, and some preprint servers will actually do that for you. Some of the biomedical preprints, I think in bioRxiv, are indexed on PubMed, which means they're searchable to a large audience. There are some journals, for example, The Lancet, which has its own preprint server. And then we've got PLOS, which is fully open access publisher, and they collaborate with the bioRxiv servers. And they also facilitate like a automatic submission from the preprint server to the journal. So once you've got your preprint up on the server, you want to make sure that people can find it. Now, make sure that you don't confuse the preprint with the accepted manuscript. So the preprint's your really early version, but the accepted manuscript, which is the formally peer-reviewed by a journal, unformatted final draft, is the version that REF and funder open access policies require you to make open access. So don't think, oh, my preprint's available, that's fine, I've done everything I need to do. To actually be eligible for submission to REF, or if you are funded by funder like UKRI, Wellcome, Horizon, you must make sure that it's the final peer-reviewed manuscript that is made open access through your institutional repository. That can be the final peer-reviewed accepted manuscript, the unformatted version, or the final published article, but it's not enough just to make your preprint open. So whenever you have a paper accepted for publication, send a copy of that unformatted peer-reviewed manuscript and the confirmation of acceptance from the journal to the paper accepted email, and our team will upload to Pure for you and make sure that you're complying with REF and funder open access requirements where applicable. Now, we have got some more information on preprints on the Open Research web pages. There's also a list of preprint servers. So if you are thinking about preprint and you're not sure which servers are actually available, we've got a nice list there, covers the different subject ones and the multidisciplinary ones as well. The UK Reproducibility Network, or UKRN, have prepared a nice primer on preprints, gives you a lot of information, explains more about what they are, how they work, and also links up to the Sherpa services, and it's Sherpa Romeo, where you can check the self-archiving policy of journals. Most of them are on there, but if you've got any questions about it, you're not sure about a journal or what their policy is, just get in touch with the Open Research team and we'll be able to help you. Okay, so just to sum up, you should use preprints. They're really good for increasing the visibility of your research, but do make sure that that output is suitable for a preprint before you post, because once it's up online, it's up there permanently. Make sure you choose the most appropriate server for your preprint. So use that list and see what is available, what's best for your subject. We know that there are the subject ones, but the OSF, which is the Open Science Framework, it's quite popular with psychology here at the university, but it's also used by the health sciences people. And it's actually quite good because as well as your preprints, I think you can upload your data files and things as well. So yeah, you've got lots of choice of different servers to use. Make sure you clearly mark the work as a non-reviewed preprint so that people know what they're getting. And version and date the revisions. That is really important to make sure that people know that they're using the most recent up-to-date version. Don't forget to add it to Pure to keep your research profile up to date. Cite your preprint using the DOI whenever you're applying for grants or you're updating your CV. And when the final published article, if you do go to publication, is ready, link the preprint to the published article through your ORCID through Pure. Okay, I hope that explains everything that you needed to know about preprints. But if you have any questions, I'm going to stop recording now and you'll get a chance to ask. If you think of anything later on, this is our Open Research email. So any queries at all about Open Research or preprints, just drop us an email